Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning into another Supatease video. 10.2 just got announced, and they just released the new upcoming set bonuses. These are the most broken things I have seen almost ever for a majority of the classes, but there are some losers as well, so you definitely want to make sure that you check them all out because these are going to be absolutely busted in the next patch. And if you want to make sure that you're staying up to date with news, changes, entertaining, educational related content, then make sure to smash that subscribe button. Your support is greatly appreciated. But let's get started. We got quite a lot of bonuses to cover. For Blood Death Knight, consuming a Bone Shield charge has a chance to cause your next Heart Strike to apply Ashen Decay, reducing damage dealt to you by 10% and increasing your damage dealt to afflicted targets by 20% for 8 seconds. Your 4 set bonus, Soul Reaper's Execute damage and Abomination Limbs damage applies Ashen Decay to enemy targets, and Heart Strike and Blood Boil's direct damage extends Ashen Decay by 1 second. This is giving you personal damage reduction, higher survivability, and higher damage output. Blood Death Knight might be more viable in PvP as a result of this set bonus. For Frost Death Knight getting a little bit of love, although it is a bit strange when you read it first of all. Chill Streak's range is increased by 4 yards and can bounce off of yourself. So normally it can be difficult to get a lot of enemies together and start bouncing that chill streak and get value. You only need somebody else and you can bounce that chill streak back and forth. As to whether or not it's going to actually hurt you or heal you, I'm not sure. Each time chill streak bounces off of an enemy, your damage is increased by 4%, stacking up to 5 times. That is a lot of bonus damage here for Frost Death Knight. Your 4-piece is that Chill Streak can bounce 2 additional times, and each time it bounces, you have a 40% chance to gain a rune, reduce Chill Streak cooldown by 5 seconds, or reduce the cooldown of Empower Rune Weapon by 10 seconds. So cooldown reduction, damage modifiers, and Chill Streak is easier to land. Those make me think Frost DK is going to be pretty good in PvP, just on the set bonuses alone. For Unholy, Apocalypse is now going to summon an additional Magus of the Dead. Your Magus of the Dead Shadow Bolt now fires a volley of Shadow Bolts up to 4 nearby enemies. So you're going to get 2 Maguses, and they're going to be AoE Shadow Bolts. Each rune you spend increases the duration of your active Magus by a half a second, and your Magus will now also cast Amplify damage, increasing the damage you deal by 5% for 10 seconds. Now, does that mean that both of these Maguses are going to give you 10%? Or is it just going to be a flat 5%? Yet to be seen. I think this is probably going to be stronger in Mythic Plus with AoE related to this set bonus. And the damage modifier not being that big, but do remember they are reshifting damage on the class changes for Unholy, so maybe this is actually going to be really powerful. We're going to have to kind of wait and see what goes on with class balance specifically. I'll have that video linked at the end of this one. For Havoc Demon Hunter, we are now looking at your 2-piece bonus, which is each slash of Blade Dance, which is your ability, is going to have a 50% chance to throw glaive an enemy for 35% of the damage, and it's probably going to be applying effects of throw glaive like Soul Rend or even the PvP talent to give bonus magic damage to the target. So you're just going to be tossing glaives out all over the place. You get a glaive, you get a glaive, you get a glaive. Oprah fell free or something like that. Your 4-set bonus here, throw glaive reduces the remaining cooldown of the hunt. So while you're just chucking all these glaives out, you're going to get the hunt back faster, and the hunt's damage over time effect is going to last 4 seconds longer. Like, these set bonuses are already really strong, and they're not even the creme de la creme. It just continues to get even better after this for a lot of the DPS specs. For Vengeance, Sigil of Flame's periodic damage has a chance to flare up, shattering an additional soul fragment from the target and dealing additional damage. Each fury you spend reduces its cooldown by 1 second. When you attack a target afflicted by Sigil of Flame, your damage and healing are increased by 2%, and your maximum health is increased by 2% for 8 seconds, stacking up to 8 times. So just flat out damage increase, sustained damage increase, which with a little bit of AoE benefit. Balanced Druid, unfortunately, Boomkin is pretty lackluster moving into this patch. I'm going to have to make a video literally just dedicated to it and the tragedy that's happening to it, honestly, with the talent changes that are coming forward. And these set bonuses probably making balance out to be the biggest loser. Your 2-piece, when Eclipse ends or when you enter combat, you enter a dream state, reducing the cast time of your next 2 Starfires or Wrath by 40% and increasing their damage by 60%. So in PvP, you're getting instant Starfires if you're getting attacked anyways. It's a slight benefit if you're not getting attacked to being able to reactivate your Eclipse a bit faster, and the bonus damage is going to be negligible because these spells just don't do any damage. Your 4-piece bonus, Star Surge or Starfall, increase your current Eclipse's Arcane or Nature damage bonus by an additional 3%, up to 15%, so just a bit more damage in your Eclipse window that will take some time to ramp up towards, which isn't terrible, but the 2-piece bonus leaves a lot to be desired. For Feral, Feral's probably the best thing in the game. I'm gonna be real here. This one's gonna be tough to beat. There are a couple that I think could rival it, but Feral Frenzy is going to grant you Smoldering Frenzy, increasing all damage you deal by 20% for 8 seconds, and you can reset Feral Frenzy with Cyclone with PP talent. Feral Frenzy's cooldown is also going to be reduced by 15 seconds. And during Smoldering Frenzy, enemies will burn for 10% of the damage you deal as fire. So you're going to be getting a fire dot on top of your bleeds, as well as Feral Frenzy just giving you a huge damage bonus. This is going to be a really powerful set bonus for Feral. For Guardian Druid, 20% of your damage and healing and 100% of the armor you gain during Rage of the Sleeper fuel the growth of Dream Thorns, which wreath you in their protection after Rage of Sleeper expires, absorbing 10% of the damage dealt to you while the thorns remain. Your 4-piece, each 40 rage you spend while Rage of the Sleeper is active extends its duration by 1 second up to 5. Your Dream Thorns become Blazing Thorns, causing damage absorbed to be reflected at the attacker. This could be really gnarly for World PvP on Guardian Druid. We already saw how powerful Rage of the Sleeper was at the start of the expansion. This is kind of bolstering it up to that level. I don't know so much for like solo shuffle, but even, we're getting rated solo queue Battlegrounds. Guardian Druid might be really good with this type of bonus to protect itself in 1v1 situations. It's probably the strongest 1v1 class. Now, out of all the healers are getting really a lot of crazy stuff, but this is really in particular on another level for Resto Druid. You and your Grove Guardians Nourishes now heal 2 additional allies within 40 yards at 40% effectiveness. These Grove Guardians, they're monsters. They're healing so much, they're going to heal even more. Your Clear Casting now causes your regrowth to also cast Nourish onto a nearby injured ally at 200% the effectiveness, preferring those with your heal over time effect. So note that it says you and your Grove Guardians Nourishes. So this Nourish is going to cleave, and it's going to heal for 200%, and it's just tied to the free regrowth cast. I don't know if it's going to go through pillars, because usually you're casting this free cast regrowth behind a pillar in PvP, but if it goes through pillars and heals things, Resto Druid is going to be completely unstoppable. Evoker for augmentation. Every third prescience lasts 100% longer, so a little bit more bonus damage to your buffed ally. Casting prescience enhances your next eruption with smaller fissures for each prescience you have active, each dealing 110% spell damage and extending your Ebonmite for 0.2 seconds. So just really hammering down on the support role of augmentation. I'm glad that it's not focused around damage reduction or absorptions, because that would be really bad for PvP. But for devastation, while Dragon Rage is active, you gain Emerald Trance every 6 seconds, increasing your damage done by 5%, stacking up to 5 times, so 25%. This is nice because it's going to give you the bonus damage towards the end of the Dragon Rage rather than the start. So you're going to feel like you have a lot more sustained damage, which should be much more fun in PvP. When Dragon Rage ends, Emerald Trance persists for 5 seconds per stack and grants you Essence Burst every 5 seconds. That's going to give you a ton of disintegrates. You're going to melt people with devastation. That's going to be a lot of fun. For Preservation Evoker, empower spells cast Living Flame at enemies or allies struck at 40% effectiveness. That's crazy. You're going to fire breath and just spit out living flames, and then the living flame will have a chance to apply Echo at 100% effectiveness on allies healed or a nearby ally who doesn't already have Echo. So Dream Breath, Fire Breath, these type of abilities that are spamming out living flames and applying Echo to their target. That's going to be really powerful for Preservation Evoker. You can see like these are some of the most powerful set bonuses we have yet to see really in the game. For Beast Mastery, Bestial Wrath is going to summon a guaranteed Dire Beast for 15 seconds, and Dire Beast will now obey your kill command and gain Beast Cleave. That's scary because you can proc a lot of these things, and if they're all pressing kill command, chomp, 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 Stampede Bug from Mop, PvP one-shots. That's what I see potentially coming out of this if you get good enough RNG and get enough of these Dire Beasts. That's going to be a monster one in PvP for sure. Marksmanship Hunter, Rapid Fire launches a volley at the target for 2 seconds. Now, I don't think it's going to have synergy with Salvo, unfortunately, so I don't know how powerful this will end up being in PvP, but the 4-piece Legacy of the Windrunner now gives Volley a 15% chance to fire wind arrows at targets when dealing damage, and they just reworked Legacy of the Windrunner. So this may save the fact that Volley is usually pretty lackluster, and unfortunately it doesn't really give you any magic damage. I believe the wind arrows are physical. Marksman really needed some type of magic damage output, I think, to have more competitive viability in PvP. For Survival Hunter, this is one of the craziest ones. Fury of the Eagle increases you and your pet's critical strike chance by 15% and critical damage dealt by 15%. Now, critical damage is something that they just nerfed because it was too powerful in PvP, and you got a set bonus giving it back to you. So you're getting one of those powerful effects back to you on a set bonus. Fury of the Eagle throws a free Wildfire Bomb at your current target, 100% effectiveness, generates 1 charge of Wildfire Bomb, and increases the damage Wildfire Bomb deals to your primary target by 40% for 12 seconds. Just bada bing, bada boom. You're getting big crits and more bombs. So, I mean, what can you really ask for here? Hunters, you're getting some pretty big W's here. For Paladin, for Holy specifically, we are looking at when Glimmer of Light dissipates or is refreshed, it creates a holy reverberation on its target to heal an ally or damage an enemy for over 8 seconds. Multiple holy reverberations may overlap up to 3. So this is like kind of like a ticking dot or a ticking hot on your ally. It's going to be really nice healing for when you're getting crowd controlled. The cooldown of Daybreak is also going to be reduced by 15 seconds. This is going to give you really good healing output and mana regen for sure for Holy Paladin. For Retribution, Expurgation, so they're focusing around this spell, likely going to be a talent that you're going to want to go after in this patch, lasts an additional 3 seconds and deals 50% increased damage. Casting Judgment or Divine Toll on a target with Expurgation causes Wrathful Sanction, dealing holy damage to the target and resonating 20% of the holy damage up to 4 nearby enemies. So some massive cleave with a single target sustained dot. Wrathful Sanction grants you Echoes of Wrath, causing your next Templar's Verdict or Divine Storm to deal damage a second time at 50% effectiveness. And this does not consume Judgment. Proc City, I guess, for Retribution Paladin. For Prop Paladin, Judgment grants a stack of Sanctification, increasing your armor by 1% per stack. Upon reaching 10 stacks, your next cast of Consecration is empowered, increasing its damage and healing by 200% and its radius by 30%. Sanctification stacks are reset when your Empowered Consecration ends. While you are within an Empowered Consecration, your abilities have a chance to deal 20% bonus damage or healing as fire. So kind of reminding me of the Ashen Hollow Consecration a little bit with this one, with some durability. This is likely going to make you pretty good in PvE. I don't know about PvP, like if it's going to be really that threatening, but it might be kind of fun to try it in like a rated BG or something like that and see how much damage it can do. For Arcane Mage, we're seeing Consuming Clear Casting, increasing spell damage by 2% for 15 seconds, stacking up to 10%. And after consuming Clear Casting 6 times, your next Arcane Missiles deal 75% increased damage and fires at up to enemies near your target. So you're just you have a lot of little missiles flying out. Sounds cool, fun, might be hard to execute. You know, monitoring when you're getting to 6 clear casting procs is a lot to keep track of, but we'll have to wait and see how that one plays out. For Fire Mage, you're getting one of the most broken ones. When Pyroblast and Flame Strike critically strike, you gain Searing Rage, increasing your critical strike damage by 3%, stacking up to 15%. Remember that critical strike damage. That's the effect that they nerfed in PvP, coming back on your set bonus. Likely going to be very dangerous, especially on a class that crits a lot, like a Fire Mage. Your 4-piece, Activating Combustion, increases the critical strike damage bonus of Searing Rage by 100% for 12 seconds. So this goes up to 150%. Fire's absolutely going to one-shot people. There's no way this thing goes live. That's way too powerful. Frost Mage, you guys this is not that great. I'm gonna be really. This one's kind of sucky. I'm gonna just lay it out there before I even read it. Glacial Spike damage, so you're ready for it. Glacial Spike damage increased by 10%. Okay, and it explodes when it shatters a frozen target, dealing 20% of its damage dealt to nearby enemies, only 20%. It's very minor. Deals reduced damage beyond 8 targets, and casting Glacial Spike has a 40% chance to trigger Brain Freeze, which is probably already procced at some point to just even random Blizzard damage, Frozen Orb damage. So I don't think it's that amazing for Frost, honestly, and it's pigeoning you into the Glacial Spike builds, which is not going to be too great, I don't think. For Brewmaster, Breath of Fire deals 20% bonus damage as Shadow Flame and causes you to heal for 50% of all fire damage dealt. That's really good for 1v1s. I'd love to see something like this for Marksmanship Hunter, where, you know, a spell does 20% bonus damage as Shadow or something, or Wind or Earth, Nature, whatever you want to call it. For your 4-piece bonus, your attacks against targets afflicted by Breath of Fire have a chance to deal 5% extra damage as Shadow Flame, and each Celestial Brew also grants a Stagger Absorb equal to the amount of Shadow Flame damage you have dealt, causing damage delayed by Stagger to instead be prevented. These seem pretty powerful for Brewmaster specifically. For Mistweaver, Renewing Mists and its jumps apply Chi Harmony, increasing its target's healing taken from you by 50% for 8 seconds. Why do they need more throughput? 15% of all healing you do to targets with Chi Harmony is stored and then dispersed evenly among your allies with Renewing Mist when Chi Harmony fades or refreshed. You really didn't need throughput as a Mistweaver. I feel like something oriented around damage reduction would have been a lot more competitively viable, not even just for PvP, but for like Mythic Plus as well. Being the only healer with not a reliable damage reduction has kind of held you back competitively over other healers. So kind of disappointed to see just throughput, but it's a crazy amount of throughput, including all the buffs that healers are getting. It's going to be tough to take stuff down in PvP. Windwalker, melee attacks have a chance to make your next Spinning Crane Kick free, and free Spinning Crane Kicks grant Ebon Toes, increasing the damage of your next Blackout Kick by 100%. Ebon Toes empowered Blackout Kicks are going to reduce the cooldown of your Fists of Fury, Rising Sun Kick, and Strike of the Windlord and Whirling Dragon Punch by 1 second. Now, Black Oak kicks can be duplicated, right? I'm a bit, out of the loop here with Windwalker. I haven't played it in a while. So does that mean that if you press Black Oak kick, with duplicated effects, or is that only a Mistweaver thing? It might only be a Mistweaver thing. Either way, cooldown reduction around your most powerful spells and big damage modifiers. So Windwalker is likely going to be really strong. For Discipline Priest, Smite and Penance damage increased by 20%. This is going to be God mode with the Penance talent where they fly up in the air immune to CC and just penance everything in front of them. And Smite extends the duration of an active atonement by 2 seconds. So you can just keep doing damage, keep your atonements rolling. Bonus, Smite has a 100% chance to cast an additional time during Shadow Covenant, so you keep extending. I don't know if this is going to be indefinite or they're going to put a limit, or if it's just 2 seconds on one Smite. Dealing shadow damage. So really, Shadow Covenant build, being aggressive and doing damage as Disc Priest is going to be kind of a staple for this spec, I think, in this patch. And it's getting streamlined a lot with class change, which is nice. For Holy Priest, Holy Word Serenity applies 14 seconds of renew to its target. Holy Word Sanctify applies 5 seconds of renew to allies it heals. It's honestly not that big of a deal. At least in PvP, it's not that big of a deal. Maybe in rated BGs, big AoE renew applied to everybody instantly. Renew's healing has a chance to cause your next Holy Word Sanctify or Holy Word Serenity to not consume a charge when cast, and costs 50% less mana, stacking up to 2 times. Now that is insane. Getting more Serenities. That's going to be a lot of throughput, single target instant throughput. For Shadow Priest, Shadow Word Death triggers 2 additional times at 50% effectiveness. 3 Shadow Word Deaths, 2 of them are half off, basically 2 Shadow Word Deaths in one. And you can double death, so quadruple death. Triggers again 1 additional time at 50% effectiveness if Death Speaker is active or your target is below 20% health. That's a lot of Shadow Word Deaths. They really like execute mechanics with this one, with what we saw for Assassination Rogues and class changes. For your 4-piece, each time you take damage from Shadow Word Death, gain a stack of Death's Torment, increasing the initial damage of your next Shadow Word Pain by 250%, or the damage of your next Shadow Crash by 50%, stacking up to 12 times. And with how often this is going to be hitting yourself with Shadow Word Death, you need the talent that reduces the damage you take from it 100%. This Shadow Word Pain could absolutely KO somebody. This is a really dangerous set bonus. Could be absolutely deadly. Massive numbers on this one for Shadow. Elemental Shaman, you guys are getting a big one. You can see why I thought Boomkin wasn't that great. Now, I'm hoping you can, at least in the comments down below. Let me know. For your set bonus, Primordial Wave also casts an Ellie Blast at the target at 100% effectiveness and grants you all 3 of the Ellie Blast effect for 15 seconds. What the... Bro, what are you doing? Like, Boomkin's getting peanuts. What is that? Come on, man. For 10 seconds after using Primordial Wave, whenever you consume Lava Surge, your next Lightning Bolt or Chain Lightning is instant and does 25% increased damage. I didn't think Ellie's could do enough instant proc damage. You're just going to be shooting guaranteed stuff at people now. This is just... Dude, this is disgusting. Enhancement Shaman. Primordial Wave summons a feral lightning spirit that increases your nature damage dealt by 20% for 15 seconds. And summoning a feral spirit will reduce the cooldown of Primordial Wave. That's a great cooldown chain feeding into each other, just summoning more wolves and reducing the cooldown further and doing 20% more damage flat. Seems pretty gnarly. For Restoration Shaman, you guys are finally getting a set bonus that actually does something. Chain Heal, Healing Surge, and Healing Wave mark their initial target with Tidal Reservoir, causing them to receive 15% of all Riptide healing you deal for 10 seconds. Any set bonus around Riptide has historically been powerful for Resto Shaman, so this should be good. Riptide's healing is just increased by 15%, and if Riptide is active on the same target as Tidal Reservoir, its heal over time effect has a 10% chance to create a new Riptide on a nearby enemy. Will this new created one have a chance to proc your Ascendance? If it does, this is easily one of the most powerful set bonuses the Resto Shaman has had ever. Now, Rogue is getting so much disgusting stuff in this patch, and what is the set bonus going to bring to us now? Each 10 energy you spend grants Nature Blight, granting 1% attack speed and 1% nature damage for 6 seconds. Multiple instances of Nature Blight may overlap up to 15, so 15% attack speed and 15% nature damage. Envenom with Envenom active explodes, dealing nature damage to all enemies within 8 yards. Will deal reduced damage to 8, so it's really AoE focused. The 15% damage output is going to be pretty nasty on Deathmark to get people in execute range, but the Envenom AoE, I see the kind of not running that 4-piece. Honestly, one of the worst 4 pieces I've seen, at least for PvP. Outlaw Rogue, Sinister Strike has a 15% additional chance of striking at additional time. That's crazy with the Enduring Brawler already giving you 15%, I believe. Okay, I've been having fun on my Outlaw Rogue, by the way. I'm pushing 2400 Solo Shuffle this season now with unchallenged for it. So Roll the Bones additionally refreshes a random Roll the Bones combat enhancement buff you currently possess for 40 seconds. So you're getting guaranteed Roll the Bones stacks and more Sinister Strikes. Just pretty strong overall. Subtlety Rogue, using Eviscerate, Rupture, or Black Powder, has a chance to summon a Shadow Clone to echo your finishing move for 50% additional shadow damage. And remember, there's a lot of stuff coming back like Gormaw's Bite, which increases finishing move damage. So yeah, you're gonna get nerfed. There's no way that's not getting nerfed. Your 4-piece bonus: your shadow clones deal 10% increased damage to all attacks and grant you 2 combo points per clone when summoned. Yeah, there's no way, dude. Dude, these things are so disgusting. These set bonuses are the most disgusting, powerful things I've ever seen. Soul Rot for Affliction, so we're going to have to play Soul Rot in this patch. Deals 15% increased damage and lasts an additional 4 seconds. Soul Rot causes your next 3 casts of Malefic Rapture within 12 seconds deal 50% increased damage and extend the duration of Agony, Corruption, Unstable Affliction, Haunt, Vile Taint, Phantom Singularity by 2 seconds. So opening up GCDs, giving you some really casted burst damage, but it's going to pin you into the Soul Rot build, which personally I didn't like playing, so I don't really like it, but it is definitely powerful for the standard build. Demonology. Demon Bolt now applies a Doom brand that explodes after 20 seconds, dealing 80% spell power, shadow damage to nearby enemies. Demon Bolt and Hand of Gul'dan reduce the duration of the primary target's Doom brand by 1 second. Now, Hand of Gul'dan damage has been increased by 15%, and when one of these Doom brands explodes, you're going to summon the Doom Fiend, the Flying Demon. He's going to blast targets for 81% spell power, shadow damage every 3 seconds for 15 seconds. So if you get a lot of these going off, get a lot of these bad boys coming into the fight, he's going to be pretty scary. And I think Tyrant now buffs your other demons. So if you get a bunch of these guys proccing in with these exploding, it could be a lot of fun. I don't know if it's going to be really powerful, but hopefully it's going to be fun. Again, the numbers on it, we'll have to wait and see. Destruction is getting another disgusting set bonus. Immolate damage increased by 20%. Immolate periodic damage has a chance to grant a charge of Dimensional Rifts, your most powerful ability. So just immolate onto everything that you can possibly get it onto and just summon rifts and win. Easy clap. 4-piece bonus: Dimensional Rift can now summon a powerful Flame Rift. Not to mention that these free rifts have a chance to be an Insane Rift, which fires 20 Searing Bolts that deal 25% of spell power, fire damage to its target, and an additional 10% fire damage over 10 seconds to nearby enemies. A lot of focus around AoE and Cleave with these set bonuses, trying to bring up the classes, I think, in terms of parity for Mythic Plus. The AoE is not going to have a big deal in PP. For Arms Warrior, oh my god, you're getting even more powerful stuff. Rend damage increased by 30% and has a chance to trigger sudden death, but that's not all. Sudden death also causes your next execute to cut deeply, causing the target to bleed for 50% of the damage of the execute, and it triggers a thunderclap for some reason that deals 100% additional damage. Okay, I guess I'm not playing Boomkin, man. I'm not playing Boomkin. These other set bonuses are insane. I can't. Fury Warrior. Odin's Fury deals 50% increased damage and causes your next 3 Bloodthirst to deal 150% additional damage and have 100% increased critical strike chance against its primary target. Not to mention, if Bloodthirst crits, which has 100% crit chance, reduces the cooldown of Odin's Fury to give it 100% crit chance by 2.5 seconds. Fury Warriors, like, oh my god, there's no way that doesn't get nerfed. Prot Warrior. Spending Rage has a chance to cause your next Shield Slam to consume your bleeds on a target, instantly dealing 100% of remaining damage and reducing the target's damage dealt to you. This Prot Warrior is crazy in PvP. Prot Warrior is already good with bleed damage. This makes me think it's going to be insanely good in PvP. 4-set bonus: when your bleeds are consumed on a target, their damage dealt to you is reduced by an additional 2% per bleed consumed. The cooldown of Thunderclap is reset, and the cooldown of Thunderous Roar is reduced by 1 second. But it's the damage on the Shield Slam you need to keep an eye out for. So these set bonuses are absolutely insane. If you stuck through this to make sure that you knew all of them coming in, they're definitely getting me excited to see what they're going to do in PvP. Except Boomkin, I guess it's over for us. Our run is done. We had a good time. Other than that, thank you very much for watching the video, and I will see you in the next one.